All right, truth seekers. Tonight is not just another live stream tonight. We're going to step into one of the most explosive conversations that you will ever hear. We're going to talk about Nibiru, but however, with a twist. The mysterious planet X, some that say it's a myth, some say it's coming to destroy us, but there are others believe something more dangerous, that Nibiru is the home of the Anunnaki and Black people or their descendants. So we're going to go into that conversation tonight. Now, if that's true, then everything that you ever been taught, history, religion, science, it can kind of all collapse when you start thinking about it. But it means that Black people are not just human beings, but the children of God. And when Nibiru returns, it won't be doomsday, it'll be more liberation. Now, hold on to your britches for a second here, because the skeptics say that this is more than false hope, that it's a recycled prophecy, so to speak, another trick to keep us waiting for saviors instead of becoming our own. And so tonight, I'm going to put it all on the line tonight. 5 rounds is where we're going to go. 5 questions, and each one of them is going to take us deeper. So the first one is going to be, are Black people the true Anunnaki? And I'm going to open up phone lines for that. We got the system up and running. And so you can call in and get into those questions and show. Then we're going to get into, is Nibiru the key to Black liberation? We're gonna go into that in the second segment of this. And then next, is it just false hope for the oppressed? And I think that's a real deep segment because it gives a lot of indications of where we are and some things. And then we will clash head to head. We're gonna go at it, and you can call in no matter who you are, and we're gonna talk about Nibiru liberation. Is it the biggest lie ever been told? I mean, the biggest one. And then finally, we're going to go to what I call the nuclear verdict. If Nibiru never comes, have we been lied to about everything? And so that's the promise of tonight's show. And so by the end, you'll be forced to, I think, to take another side of this thing, and you will walk away either fulfilled or shattered, either way. But anyway, the phone lines are going to be open. You'll see it on the screen when the time comes. So I want your believers, the skeptics, the undecided, whoever you are, this is your moment. Call in, state your case, and let's find out together if Nibiru truth is myth or is the biggest cover up in human history. And so I want to welcome you to Truth versus Authority. And remember, you may not believe it. So let's get down into my opening, and my opening comes from some of this information, which is the Anunnaki Chronicles, which is actually Zecharia Sitchin was the reader, but by Janet Sitchin, and I don't know if she's related to him. Maybe she's related to him. There's a few things that we can talk about other than Emerald Tablets here that Billy Carson wrote, and then, of course, David Hatcher Childress, The Technology of the Gods, which are 3 good books that I will recommend that you should check out and really get into this whole Anunnaki in depth, I would say, and we're going to do that. Yep, you said you're doing call-ins. Yep, I am going to do it. And so I'll put the information up real soon. We got a whole system. We can hold up to 7 lines, and you just got to all follow the things that we're going to do. All right, so let me begin right now first before we begin our call in. And just remember, you stay on topic. If you're not on topic, I'm going to cut it out and then I'll block it from there. But if you can stay on topic each part or where we are with the questions, that'll be pretty perfect. But anyway, let's start with the Sumerians. And like I said, you can get a lot of that information from here, Billy Carson's book, The Emerald Tablets. And the Sumerians are one of the oldest civilizations on record. Now, their tablets speak of sky beings, the Anunnaki, and who came down from heavens. They wasn't angels, according to them. They weren't myth either. They were flesh and blood and rulers who shaped humanity. Now, they came from a planet which that wasn't always visible, and some say they called it Nibiru. So that's your baseline there. Now, these beings created kings. They created civilizations, knowledge. And here's the kicker, though. The Sumerians didn't describe them as pale gods from the north. They described them as dark, powerful, regal, beings who could easily be seen as the reflections of Africa. So that is not, and you can't wait till we go deeper into it tonight. Now, let me ask you, or ask you something. You know, why do so many of our scholars, our leaders, even our people whisper that they were Black people? So it's always been a question. And like I say, tonight we were going that together. And are these true descendants of these Anunnaki, you know, or Black people that, you know, and why does this story connect so deeply to our culture, our community? But now I will say, because if you think about it, in African traditions, especially in the Yoruba stories, the Egyptian writings, in biblical prophecy, you know, we keep hearing the same thing. Gods came from above. You know, that's a story that's been repeated over and over and over, and that the gods will return. And when they return, there will be judgment and there will be some type of liberation. And so we will go there as well. Now, another part is, but here's the conspiracy side. I definitely want to make sure I tap into that. If this is true, if Black people are not just human beings, but children of gods, then slavery was more than chains, right? It really was. It was a cover-up, or it wasn't about cotton. It wasn't about money or land. It was about stripping away a cosmic identity, if that is the case, right? And it was about making sure that we as a community would never discover who we really are. Now, if the rulers of the world knew that very people that they were enslaving were descendants of the Anunnaki, wouldn't they do everything in their power to bury the truth forever? So that is the ultimate question as we set this up. But now I want to bring us into current times. We're in 2025 right now. People talk about Nibiru like it's a doomsday rock, you know, when you hear about it. But what if the return, or, you know, in other words, but what if it's the return of our home, right? If that was the truth of the story. What if the story is not about it would destroy, but will finally free people, okay? Or people will be liberated, you know, as I would say. But now you have believers that say that when Nibiru swings back into our skies, it won't be a collision. It'll be kind of a reunion, and the reunion of the gods, the return of justice, the return of truth about who we are. And like I said, if you want to get more information, you can go in this here, in which is a book, like I said, it's pretty interesting. So with Zecharia Sitchin, the 12th planet or 13th planet. But anyway, listen, the other part of this is that they point to, now when you think about the skeptics, let me get into that, because I'm gonna cover all grounds tonight. The skeptic would laugh because they'll say it's a fantasy, it's a mythology, it's internet nonsense. They'll point in every failed date. Remember, you had 2003, you had 2012, you remember that one, 2017, and nothing happened. But I'll ask, if NASA knows, and if the government knows, if the elite knows, would they ever even tell us the correct date or anything? And so would they ever admit that people that they enslaved over in the history, the people who they oppressed, the people who they kept at the bottom, in fact, are the bloodlines, the ones who once ruled the heavens? Now, we're going to continue. The real question is, and it's not about the planets or astronomy or astrology, it's about identity. It's about history. It's about liberation. And that's what we're doing in this live tonight. So, like I say, I will open up some phone lines in a minute. Stay on point if you were be one of the callers on, because we got 5 sections in each one of these. I wanted to relay on those sessions as we go. So here's what I want you to call in. I'm gonna set up a few questions, and then I'll put the ultimate question on the screen for you to discuss. And I'm not gonna be the one that decides. It's gonna be you tonight, all right? It's gonna be you, those of you who participate, those of you, again, skeptics, believers, historians, pastors, stargazers, whatever you are, you can call in tonight. And I want you on the line, and this is, I'm gonna put the question on the screen, and then you can prepare to get ready to answer that and go into that, and then I'll put up where you can call into the live show. So that's going to be our first question. But before we get into that, is this isn't random myth. When you start talking about, are Black people true Anunnaki? There are some of the oldest writings on the earth. If you start doing your homework or research, like I said, you got the Emerald Tablets, you got Zecharia Chronicles and all that. They say that the Anunnaki descended gave knowledge and ruled, and believers say it isn't meant at all, but supposed to be our history. And if that's true, what does that mean for Black people today? So the question I will have before you get into this main question on the screen: why do the Sumerian tablets describe sky beings who created humanity? That kind of leads you into the first part of the answers to the ultimate screen question when we do that. And the other part of this is from, you want to talk about dreadlocks, even people wear those today, to dark skin depictions. You hear about that. Some researchers arguing ancient gods look like us. Is that a coincidence? Or is that history is being whitewashed to erase some type of connection? And so that boils me down to the other question: why do some claim that the Anunnaki features align with African origins? You will read that, you will hear that out there. So that's something worth noting there. And then also in the book of Revelations, you have the Egyptian text. Even in African oral traditions, we hear of God's returning. And also, could these prophecies be about the Anunnaki and their ship planet, once again, called Nibiru? And that leads me to another question: why do some say slavery disconnected Black people from their cosmic identity? And again, when I open up these phone lines, you can call in, get into the queue, and be prepared, to stick on topic. Like I said, the topic will be whatever the question is, and then I have 4 others we'll put up, and that way you, the audience, and participation. If that's not possible for you to stay on topic questions and keep us in the focus mode of where we are, please do not call, because I don't want to be seen the bad guy to disconnect the call and then ultimately block it, from there. So I just want you to know this is how we're going to roll it tonight. The other part is, what if slavery wasn't just about economics? What if it was about hiding who we truly are at this time? And if the rulers knew Black people were the children of the Anunnaki, wouldn't they even try to bury it forever? And like I said, so why do some say slavery disconnected Black people from their cosmic identity? You hear that a lot when you start looking into slavery and some of those things when it comes down to it. The other question is Nibiru, or I would say believers say that the planet isn't coming to kill us, it's about bringing justice. And when Nibiru swings back, it's not the end. So having said that, there is the number on the screen, the live call-in number on the screen. You can call to get in the queue. Please follow all the instructions that you hear. If you do not follow the instructions that you hear, then I will see it, and there will be no need to bring you up. And I may even call out your last 4 digits and say, hey, you did not follow instructions, and we'll give you another chance to do that. But if not, then that's fine. But anyway, I'll go into the discussions and keep going. But anyway, the phone lines are open. And again, that is the question that I want you to answer if you're going to be participating or calling in tonight on the show, and pretty much. But are Black people the true Anunnaki? And I know some of you have a thought. I know some of you have something you may can answer to do that. And like I say, this is a perfect place for us to begin the process, to begin to understand from a audience and community perspective. And it don't matter who you are, you Black, white, Chinese, whatever, you can call and give your perspective to the question that's on the screen right here. And that will lead us into many more parts of the discussion tonight. And it all leads down this road, because again, once we discuss that, we'll get into a couple of other phases of that, and pretty much. So we have enough people in here, almost 100 people already, that one of you, 2 of you, 3 of you have some type of interpretation. And don't worry, you'll still be able to hear the show while you're in the queue. It'll allow you to hear the conversation as we continue. It'll allow you to hear what the other callers or someone has said, so that you will be able to understand that when we go down the fence. But all right, so once again, I will go into the questions like I just put into some of the things that I said until we get our first caller tonight. Why do the Sumerian tablets describe sky beings who created humanity? Now, if the Sumerian tablets is the foundational information, the truth of it all, then it will make a lot of sense that this is what people are saying and doing, and anything else. And so I think, I think, I don't know, I think it's very important, to really, I don't know, I think it's important. And again, if you're in the chat, you got a great part of this conversation, why don't you bring it up? And again, do that. And so we will begin the conversation to do as we are getting our callers in. There's people calling into the switchboard right now, and we will bring some of those people into what we're doing right now. So I appreciate you all are calling, and again, hopefully you follow the instructions there. So that's pretty good. We did have again, one of the things that I think that when you think about it, are Black people the true Anunnaki? Those are one of the things that, again, it's a questions that we should always want to answer. I would say it is something that we will want to know when you think about history, all the things that has been said, all the things that have been, coming out in these stories, and pretty much. And so, like I said, the phone lines are open. So therefore, if you have something you want to say and get in on the conversation, feel free to do so, and we will do that. Like I said, we do have callers right now being processed, and so the screening is happening right at this time, and then we'll get into bringing some of you on board. All right, so we have all right, so we got Chuck D in the house who's coming up, and he said he believes that Central America is his answer to the question, and that ethno-type Black men is no. And so we're going to bring Chuck D into the conversation here and bring him in on the luminous line, baby. There we go. All right, so Chuck, you are now live on the air with us tonight. So are Black people the true Anunnaki? What are your comments there?
Hey, hello, brother. This is Dr. Chuck from Belize. How are you, man?
All right, what's going on, my brother? What's going on? So you see our call-in system is working, and we got other callers in the queue. And hey, let me tell you, I'm excited to create this call-in. So what are your thoughts there? Let's go with I got 5 questions tonight, and so you can call back on a couple of other ones. So I want to keep us moving on the current question that's on the screen. Are Black people the true Anunnaki?
I'll tackle the first question.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I say no, and that is as an ethnotypical, quote-unquote, Black man. I say no, because Black is a social construct, and I think it's dangerous to relate what we perceive as humans as Black on the planet Earth with melanated beings that we call Anunnaki. I studied the tablets. I've read the tablets a lot, and according to the tablets, the Anunnaki, especially the Igigi, whether they were melanated or not, humans with a passion. They wanted to destroy humans and tried to destroy humans multiple times with floods and all different types of scenarios. So I would say no, because I think there's a difference between melanated and what we perceive as human beings on planet Earth as Black.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's fair enough. I think, and it should be open to interpretation, and especially when you hear all the stories that we've heard from the past, all the books that was written, and then of course you got this planet coming back and everything else. And I think it's something to really think about and pretty much. But anyway, I appreciate it, man, and I got many more for tonight, so make sure you hop back in on a few other ones as we get into it. I got some other callers here on the screen, and I want to go there. Fair enough?
No problem. Definitely respect.
All right. So at this point, we have a couple of other callers that we're going to do. Oh, my bad. Let me call back in to set up our lines. Hold on one second.
Unknown caller.
All right, so what we're going to do, we have Alexandra. Now, Alexandra, a little bit, let's get to a point. Remember, I want us to stay on point, but I'll bring you in real quickly. But in the future, we only want to stay on a point. So here's next luminous call there. So, all right, Alexandra, let's go with it, Alex.
Hi.
Oh, hold on 1 second for me. Let me connect you 1 second. And all right, so go ahead now.
All right. We're good?
We good.
Okay. So my idea of like extraterrestrials and stuff, I think that they have the capability to be able to look however they want to look to people. So
okay.
I see it like so they're able to shape shift to why would if they wanted to talk to ancient civilizations and stuff, why would they want to come looking scary in a different form? You would fear that they would want to look like the people that they come to talk to. So that way they can get their, be able to blend in and still be able to do what they need to do. So I think that they're able to look like anybody. I've done like a lot of research in like dark energy and stuff like that and dark matter. And I think a lot of it has to do with that, but I think they're able to shape shift and look however they want to look to certain people. So that's with all of them.
Okay.
Not just the Anunnaki though.
No, I get it though. I think you're making a great point, because even when you think about ghosts or you think about apparitions and things that people see, they usually show up the way you remembered somebody, right? Whether it was a kid or whatever. So it's almost like they are doing that to make the person comfortable for the experience. And so you're saying that they're maybe not true black people, but they could be whatever. So black people can think they're black, white people can think they're Anunnaki white, green can think they're green. Is where you're going with that?
Yes. I feel like they could look however they want. If they wanted to look like monsters, they could. If they wanted to look like, a person of any race, they could. They could look like anything. They could turn it themselves into anything.
That's a fair assessment. That's a fair assessment. I'm with you on that. And so again, I have many more questions tonight. If any of them strike you, make sure you call back in. But I appreciate you calling in, and already the system working just fine. So thank you, and we have some other callers in the queue. All right, bye-bye.
Awesome, thank you, bye.
All right, so we do have a couple other callers in the queue, and we will get into it right now. We have Tiffany from Texas, so we're going to bring Tiffany into the call, and we'll go into that. We'll bring Tiffany into the luminous line, y'all. That's what we're calling it, and pretty much. So, all right, so Tiffany, you're on the air tonight. Welcome to the show. What is your assessment when it comes down to, are black people the true Anunnaki?
Well, I think so. I think it's different names for like eons, I'm pretty sure. But I was just thinking, like, because they come from outer space, and like the sun and stuff, they got to be dark-skinned people. That's what I'm assuming, unless they come from a cold planet. I don't know. But I think that they are black people, to be honest.
All right.
And they're different, like, colors of black, too.
You know what? I'm going to bring that up later in the show, but I think we might as well do it right now. And you just hit on something that I was having a discussion with someone today. And I was like, he asked me the question I'm asking you all. And I said, what if we're black? All right. And not black people, but jet black. That's the color, right? Versus us being brown. And they only call us black then because they didn't really want to call the color brown. And maybe we're brown people, but they are actually black, like the black in this curtain, the black on my crystals here. You get what I'm saying? And
that's what I'm thinking. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We yeah.
I'm sorry. First, I want to say thank you so much for what you're doing. You're opening a lot of people's eyes. Me and my son enjoy watching this right now. He's probably doing something else, but thank you so much for this.
Hey, I appreciate it. I've been wanting to create a call-in scenario for over a year. Been working on it all last week, and I finally got the system that we're using tonight, and it appears to work out. You didn't have any problem calling in and going through everything, correct?
No, sir. Everything sounds crystal clear.
All right, then. Well, I appreciate it, and we will have you back if you feel to get in on. We have pretty more questions that we'll pose tonight, and I welcome you to call back in that as well. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? One question?
Yes, you sure can.
So what do you think really truly about the they're coming back or that asteroid they're talking about? I just want to know your answer, and I'll hang up.
All right. So I'll answer that. And first of all, what part of Texas are you coming to our meetup this weekend with Saturday in Dallas?
Austin, Texas.
All right. Well, then one of these days, well, you should. All right. And get on our text list. Is the number's in the description. I'll be sending out the address again, but I'll go ahead and answer. Oh, wait a minute. Ask me the question again.
What do you think about the planet coming around, and also about the asteroid they're talking about, the Atlas asteroid or comet? I just want to know your.
All right, and we're talking about the planet Nibiru, correct?
Yeah, that too.
Okay, all right.
Do you think it's that Atlas thing?
I'll answer it both for you right now, and thank you for calling. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So again, that was Tiffany calling in from Texas. So again, I want to thank her for calling us tonight, and the phone lines are still open if you want to participate and answer that question. But I'll go ahead and get into two things that she wanted to get into. One in particular is the Atlas, or the thing that the telescopes or people are saying that they're seeing coming, and it's supposed to be the second coming, if I'm not mistaken, of the Amunur or whatever. I think that there's oftentimes, Tiffany, that we see a lot of things. It's a big ASS space out there. Now, the conspiracy side of it, or the word on the street is what we will use, is when they are able to see these things when they're pointing at a certain direction. It's like, we don't have the budget, we don't have the equipment. The satellites are only pointing and going where they're going, as opposed to any other place. So now that begs two sides of the story, Tiffany, that goes into whether they already knew or they have had previous information to go in that direction, to look for it, whether it's space travelers, whether it's time travelers, whether it's, ancient, whatever, portals, people, whatever, something is telling them, look this way. Now, if they're looking in that formal direction that Amunur had already came in, orbited back and went back in a direction, they thought that would be a great idea, which I would think so too, then that would be the best place. Now let's put a little more word on the street. Conspiracy. What if it is the planet that they're seeing, and they're now just trying to downplay it, that it's the Atlas or something else, and they don't want to stir up a commotion or get people? Because one thing that we got to think about, a lot of this stuff is probably not happening in real time, and when I say real time, our lifetime. It could be later on down the road, and it could go as ffurther down 300 years from now or generations. It's just that we can see it. Oftentimes when they see things, or gazillions and million light years away, possibly, or whatever. So we're going to discuss that tonight. Maybe more people call in tonight to discuss this Nibiru return, this planet, and of course tied into the conversations that we're having. And we're going to explore that. But I think it's worth exploring on both sides of the fence. Hopefully I just kind of gave you my little opinion on it without trying to be so scientific about everything, right? All right, so let me know if you guys didn't have any trouble hearing the callers tonight. Our system is working fine. Please put in a chat, especially my moderators, if you can, answer it for me as quickly as possible. Is the audio from the callers being able to be heard, so I can continue on with the show? And again, if you have anything that you want to say, and it's about what we're doing, then we will continue. We do have another caller coming in, and so therefore I will get them into the show here in just a second. And so once again, I appreciate those of you who are participating. We have plenty more questions tonight that we're going to get into this show tonight. So welcome to go into each one of them with an open mind. And as you know, your mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. And of course, you're here on Truth versus Authority. And again, we want all you skeptics, believers, pastors, whoever you are tonight, within the confirmation of what we're doing, state what's happening. And I really appreciate, everything that is happening and thus far is going on. All right. So we have Jamie, and we're going to bring Jamie in, who believes that that she is an Anunnaki, and so we want to hear the stories of that. And so I will get on the Luminous line. All right. So okay. So Jamie, how are you? So from your screen input there, you believe that you're an Anunnaki, is that correct?
Correct. My name is Jamie.
Jamie,
I am an Anunnaki god.
okay, you're Anunnaki. So before you get into why you believe that, let's go with the first question: are Black people true Anunnaki? And then let's tie it into you. Okay, fair enough.
Oh yes, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. Let's go with that. Are Black people true Anunnaki?
Well, in my opinion, I would have to say that I don't think so. I am not a Black person.
Okay.
I am a Caucasian male, and for that reason, I would have to say that I do not agree.
Okay. All right. So, before you, all right. Well, I know you don't agree, and then you believe that you're Anunnaki and you're a Caucasian male. So let's go into how did you discover to come to the point that you are an Anunnaki?
I'm so glad to be able to tell you about this because ever since I was a little one, I remember my mother and father telling me stories about where they were from and that we were all an Anunnaki family.
All right. Well, can you share some of that stories with us? Take us back to those moments.
Well, yes, they frequently would tell me tales about Nibiru and what it was like, and how the people were much different. But they also love to share stories about our similarities too.
Okay. And so take me back to how you were raised religious-wise, being Caucasian and believing that you're a descendant of Anunnaki yourself.
Oh, well, we follow similar to the golden tablets of Thoth,
Okay.
where our gods are Anunnaki gods, the same gods of ancient.
Okay. All right. And, it's fair to say that, there's a lot of, even when we start thinking about a lot of historic stories out there, JL, that, it's like they're all a different culture stories, but they're talking about the same thing. You know what I mean? And it's like a connection to it all, or archetypes, archetype, that just depending on your culture is where this come from. So can you share with the audience something as a kid that you're now in belief of now that stood out the most about you being Anunnaki?
Perfectly, yes. I would think, now that I've grown, I might have doubted my parents, but they had knowledge of the history before human creation, and being on Nibiru and visiting several times, even before the creation of humankind.
Okay. Wow. All right. And that led you to where you are today in the belief. And let me make sure for the audience purposes, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want, but both of your parents are Caucasian, correct?
Correct. We have a colony here.
Oh, really?
In the United States.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And the whole colony.
That's what Dearborn, Michigan is.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's a great. So the whole colony is functioning as the children descendants of the Anunnaki. I'm not going to use the word cult. I'm not going to use the word cult.
We follow our Lord Anu.
Okay.
Our Lord Anu is who we give most reverence to, sort of like Muhammad, who created the human race, as you know.
Okay.
And so that is our primary God that we worship.
Wow. Okay. And I didn't know that. And it's in Dearborn, Michigan. Now, how big is this colony? Or the people, the group?
I reckon that it's from my knowledge, it's in the probably about 50 to 100,000 Anunnaki above and below ground.
Whoa. And we'll get to that in just a second. You said something about above and below ground. And so now I'm not trying to deviate from the conversation, but now below ground, then it tends to, you start thinking not Hopi Indian, you start thinking reptilian stuff, right? Or am I too far off the map there?
Actually, it's the ant people in the inner earth.
That's what I meant. The Hopi ant people.
We battle with and sometimes trade with.
Really, and they still exist there.
They are more numerous than humankind.
Wow. Okay, that's fine then. All right. So, no, I mean, we can have more. I got more questions tonight if any of them apply. But first of all, let me thank you for being part of our call tonight. And we got plenty more other stuff that I'm gonna carry through this whole conversation. But you just enlightened.
Praise anew.
Hey, and then I'm gonna put you on our trusted list along with a couple other people so that you can always call in and pretty much from there. So I appreciate you calling in. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I appreciate you as well.
All right. Yeah, I you know what? I had I would say a lot of conversations there for JL that we could have went in a lot of directions, but just to hear, the opposite of what I have on the screen, are Black people the true Anunnaki, and why is that? But then now, as he mentioned, they have their colony who thinks otherwise, or themselves. And I failed to ask him, were there, out of that 100,000, are they all Caucasian, or is there any dynamics of different races within that belief system? And of course, he probably would know that all the way, but he would know immediately from there. All right, so we're going to continue the conversation, and the next part that I'm going to do, I'm going to take this down, and we have a couple of other questions that we will get into now, and so we're going to move right along. Segment 2 is part of the same thing, but now we're going to talk about, is Nibiru the key to Black liberation? Now, the reason I'm saying that, because in segment 1, right now, we just asked if Black people are the true Anunnaki. And of course, we heard a lot of great answers in conversation tonight. And so let's take it a little further. If that's true, then Nibiru isn't just a mystery planet. It's the symbol of the return, right? Or the liberation, the breaking of chains, supposedly. But if that's true, it means that the world as we know it is on borrowed time, supposedly, as people talk about. So you got the government, you got religions, you got the economies, or, all of this is just scaffolding, sort of, or waiting for the collapse when the gods come back. And so I ask all of you, truth seekers of the family out there, is Nibiru real, or are we waiting on the destructions of this? And so my next part of the question is Nibiru key to Black liberation? We got several callers coming in, and we can get into that right now. All right, so one of the things I think that we can do is that how can I put it? I think it's it's kind of hard to say, but I think the main thing is that we have a lot of conversations that we can go into, and I think it's worth noting, right? It's worth noting, and it's worth noting from there. All right, so we have a caller in the queue right now in the Luminous line. We have Roger. Oh, he was saying me, brother Roger. Okay, but it's Shannon. So Shannon is calling from Southeast Carolina and wanted to make a comment on a few things that we're going to say about African and melanated beings. So we're going to bring Shannon into the call right now on the Luminous line. All right, and so let's get Shannon into the call there. All right, so, all right, Shannon, appreciate you calling. If I got that right, Shannon, welcome to the top the show tonight.
Greetings, brother Roger. Greetings.
Well, why I got Shannon here and it's not, my guy here? You know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
Okay, well, it's a system that's doing this. Eventually, I will have a live person, whoever I can find, that will be willing to answer the phones and stuff on there. But the system is doing it for us. But anyway, perfectly fine. What's going on, my brother? Which part are we still talking about? Is Nibiru the key to Black liberation, or are we back to, are they true Anunnaki?
Well, it's a mixture of everything, but on a physical level, only the person occupying the physical body can achieve liberation physically.
Okay, so
But
we're
it
on
first has to happen.
so we're commenting on is
Yeah.
Nibiru the key to Black liberation? So let's go. We're on there. All right, great. So
Yes. So is Nibiru, or the planet or object known as Nibiru, is that the key to liberation? Physically, if some of the effects that were prophesied occur, liberation won't even be a conversation.
okay.
If we look at some of the things that are talked about how the effects of the presence of Nibiru can affect the solar system.
Okay.
A lot of people won't even be thinking about liberation at that point, because you're talking about cataclysmic events.
Gotcha.
Civilization as we know it not being anymore. A reset, returning back to Stone Age type of interactivity, or not being at all and existing as a totally different being. Who knows at that point? But what is evident is that at any rate, internally, or I should say psychologically, the liberation has to happen first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The liberation has to happen within first. And that's what all of this is really pointing to, is pointing to changes that have to happen within. Because
Gotcha.
we exist before the physical world. We exist before physicality.
Okay.
And the only reason why the physical world is the way it is because we collectively, no matter what race, creed, or color, are playing into it and giving energy to it. We create worlds by collective agreements.
Okay.
Worlds don't create us.
All right.
And because of that, whatever type of world we wish collectively and put action to is what manifests. Until we continue and play a role and invest in so much esfet, meaning imbalance and disharmony, until it implodes on itself in the form of Nibiru or Anunnaki gods returning back, which is really self-awareness at its rawest state, returning back to itself, Sankofa, imploding on itself, a reset. All of these key words are connected, but we connecting the dots. They appear one way in the physicality, but you are what exists before physicality, so you can change your form. It goes back to what I used to, we would talk about this before. When you want to travel throughout the cosmos,
okay,
you're going to travel faster than light. There is no known physical form that can withstand traveling faster than light.
I got you. And hold on for that thought too, because I have a few more calls in the queue, but I'm gonna bring one in with you who just called Dr. Yak, my guy from Belize here. And you guys can kind of share, because I think y'all both on the same point. So I'm just gonna I want you to hold for a second and let me bring him on to the call here. All right. What do you think? I know you were listening in the holding room to what my guy here was just saying. What are your thoughts? You're on with us as well now.
Okay, I'm a practical person, right? So all I can go by is what has been left, and that's the actual information and scrolls that have been left to us about the Anunnaki, about humans' creation, about who they are. I can't for the life of me see why
we're getting a lot of distortion in the call. I don't know if you're moving, but it's going in and out or something.
It's fading in and out.
I'm sorry. I can't for the life of me see how Nibiru's return would calculate to Black liberation if they were unhappy at humans' creation in the first place. They were with each other because humans were created. The whole concept of slavery and oppression comes from the Anunnaki blueprint.
All right, so what we're doing, it's a bad connection, so you're going in and out, so we can barely hear what you're saying. But I think I gathered a few things that you were saying, that how could it be liberation if we were not created properly in the first place? Are we going that route, right? Or things wasn't correct?
Concepts.
Let
and
me
ideas.
see. Am I coming through more clearly
Yes,
right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you a little better.
Okay, cool. So what I'm saying is that according to the stories that were left behind, Anunnaki went to war with each other based on the creation of Lulu Amalu, who was human beings. Igigi, or the ones who controlled the starships, were not happy at the creation of Lulu Amalu. Lulu Amalu was created by Enki and Ninurta, and they ended up going to war with the ones who going back and forth in the stars, over the creation of human beings. Because now the reason why I don't think Nibiru's return equates to any type of liberation is because slavery itself, the whole slave system, came from the Anunnaki themselves. So they had the earthbound Anunnaki who were slaves working in the mines, who were not and who were dissatisfied with working. They created human beings to take off the slack, and then the Igigi, who stayed in the starships, were not happy with the creation of human beings. They wanted to destroy them. That's why we had and all of the different things that
All right.
tried to actually destroy the human.
Okay, so your audio still was going in and out, but all right. So I appreciate what you're saying. I'll let my guy here. You give a response to what you're hearing him saying, and then I will go into our next question for new callers. Y'all fair enough?
Sure, fair enough.
All right, go ahead. You heard his response. Go ahead and if you wanted to add or subtract to what he's saying.
Yes, I get the gist of what he's saying, and I want to add to it, but kind of open up to a different concept. Let's go back further than that. Let's go back to the environment or the presence that all of
now.
that
How far back are we going? Can you repeat what he was saying so the audience can go on the journey, going back from where to where?
Yes. Let's go back to the concept of Anu and the Naka, or the Anunnaki and the Nibiru and the Igigi and all of the other stories that are told. Let's go back beyond the stories, right? So let's go to presence, the place that stories happen within, that they're remembered, told, and forgotten within. Let's go to that place. From that place, as I was saying before, if you want to travel faster than light, no physical form can do that. Information can. But what is truly information? Information is the evidence of presence. It is presence that is what we all truly are. When we travel, let's say we want to travel from here to Mars. The environment on Mars is completely different. So we would have to change our physical form. This is where it is spoken of and mentioned in the Bible. Let us make man the first time. And then the second time, let us make man in our image.
Now,
so there's an image.
So where does that tie into both of you for liberation?
We're going to connect the dots with that. So when it comes to liberation is not just a physical thing. Liberation has to happen in the non-physical before it happens in the physical. You see what I'm saying? So in order for liberation to actually manifest, it has to occur in that presence that operates any physical form or interacts with any physical form. This is where the true Anu and the Naka come from. This is what everything really is. Before physicality, the work must be done within. It must be done within that which operates the physical body. First of all, the realization that you are operating that physical body and that physical body is not you, that must first be established as the experience that you are. Then like we say, the higher levels of civilization, as they call it, is really truly higher levels of consciousness, not necessarily civilization.
Okay.
Because technology can't take you to these places that we're talking about when we're talking about intergalactic or multidimensional. That technology cannot go that far because technology is associated with physical form.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna need y'all to. We got a bunch of other callers and some stuff. So Yeah, you heard him. I'll give you the last response to what he's saying, counteract what you were just saying, and then I'm gonna move on to our next question. You guys are welcome to call back on that. And any of you calling in the future, just make sure we got a lot of callers in the queue tonight because it's working, and we want to land and fly up planes and land them down as quickly as we can. But I appreciate you, brother.
Right.
And all right. So, do you want to respond to what he just said before I drop both of you? Go ahead.
Yeah.
And if you can, make it quicker.
Yeah, I won't take.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't take a lot of time. The point is that slavery, as we know it.
Yeah, we got a lot. Your mic is really muffled. I mean, even people in the chat saying it's hard to hear you. So I don't know what's going on with the microphone or something there. Did we lose him?
Still there?
Is that better now?
Yeah, if you can just, because it is going in and out muffled. So if you can make it quick, and then we'll try to figure something else out for you. But go ahead.
The point is that slavery, as we know it, comes from the Anunnaki system. The whole reason for humans' creation was because there was a slave class Anunnaki complaining about their duties. So some wise scientists, came forward and said, we'll create a being that is built specifically to do the job. So I don't see how Nibiru is returned.
Yeah.
All
right. So yeah, we're getting bad. That audio is bad, brother. It's really, really bad. All right. So we'll try some again. Yeah, because we can't hear it and people are dropping off because they're not being able to hear. So all right. So we'll talk soon. All right, Brother Harris, we'll talk as well.
I get what he's saying. Okay. Yeah,
right.
But I get what.
All right. So So we my guy got a lot of knowledge over there in Belize. So I'm gonna get with him after the show. We're gonna get him some microphones and to get one. So because he got a lot of knowledge he can add to the conversation and pretty much. All right. So we're gonna move into the next part of the questions that I have, and it kind of leads into. Let me put it on the screen here so that we can kind of go down that route and pretty much. And so, is Nibiru just false hope, or is it for the oppressed? Because oftentimes we hear that people assume that could be a scenario, and let me get into that conversation if we begin to go down a route. Because see, believers say that Nibiru is the key to Black liberation, and it is the home of the Anunnaki, and when it returns, justice will come. This is what people talk about. But let's flip the script for a moment. What if the story is not true? And by the way, what if it's another cage, right? What if it's something else, which a couple of them was alluding to? What if calling on a Nibiru, or Nibiru is what I call it, but you guys got the grammar box there. Keep us from fighting here and now. But what if the myth of a planet coming to save us is just a new religion designed to pacify the oppressed with hope, with the powerful keeping in control? Now, you got skeptics. Skeptics going to always argue that Nibiru prediction has failed. Again, we talk in 2003, 2012, 2017, and beyond, that there's been a failure there, and there's no evidence, no telescope data that's going to prove no planet coming. But more than that, they say the idea of Nibiru is dangerous because it keeps people distracted, waiting for saviors instead of becoming their own. And, to add to the fire, what happens if they get here to free us from slavery, and slavery has already stopped, and they go, well, there's nothing to see here, and they turn back around. They go, you know what? Oh, well, it is no more slavery. They cool. Slavery has ended, and they turn around, if that's the meaning of slavery to them, right? So that'd be also one of those things, because think about it. If the planet Nibiru or Nibiru or whatever, we're just going to keep it. Y'all got the grammar box. I'll keep it where it's easy for me. Was real, shouldn't the last one of those predictions have come true, or are we moving the goalposts every generation? And I will say that because why is every prophecy date come and gone and nothing has happened? So if you want to get into the question right there on the screen, is Nibiru just a false hope for the oppressed? anyone who believes in it, whether it's white, black, whatever, that they're coming to free, then I would love for you to call in there as well, and pretty much from there. So I think it's just one of those deals to really think about. But again, it is worth for us to know. The other part, with millions of people pointing telescope in the skies, wouldn't someone outside of NASA have spotted it coming? You know, why NASA? Why is there the only people? Why no other astronomer or professional or amateur even shown clear evidence of Nibiru's return? So I think that's always a question there. And then, of course, if skeptics say it's the same pattern, we're talking about Y2K. If any of you was around then, the Mayan 2012 calendar, blood moons, now Nibiru, and then now are we being fed fear and hopes of entertainment instead of the truth? And I think that's something to really think about. Like I say, the phone lines are open if you want to hop in on the question that's on the screen itself. And we would kind of go there. But the other part is, for centuries, religion told the oppressed to wait for heaven. You remember, it's all there. And now are we just waiting for the planet instead of heaven? And the question is it the same trick? Is it a new name? You know, and like I said, we're exploring everything tonight. I'm not trying to give you no absolutes from my end. This is where our scholars, our audience, and different people can come into the conversation and to do. And again, the phone lines are open. You're welcome to call in. And the other part, if we're having or waiting on an Anunnaki, you know, are we ignoring the fight here on Earth against poverty, racism, probably oppression, corruptions, or are we hoping for a cosmic rescue instead of doing the work ourselves? Because a lot of stuff can be a stalemate. We know that. There's a lot of things that could keep us holding on. And it's kind of, me and a friend of mine was having a conversation yesterday about similar talk of the wait till I get to heaven thing, right? I don't want to do nothing here on Earth. I'm not going to work or worry about money here on Earth. And because it's, you know, when I get to the next place, there is no money is not needed, but yet we're here 365 days out of the year. And then if we're here for 50, 80, 100 years, it's thousands of days, right? And thousands of minutes, millions of seconds, and spending time here waiting for us to get to the other place, right? And so oftentimes there's something there that's pretty much. But once again, if you think that where we are with this, then, you know, we can continue down the road of the conversation. But right now, of course, on the screen is Nibiru, just false hope for the oppressed. I mean, I know that's a conversation a lot of you don't want to have, or a lot of people don't want to touch on when it comes down to this, because it gets into the face. It may tackle the religious beliefs, when that question is posed, and it's there to be thought-provoking. It's there to create that emotional thought of conflict of what I'm saying, because it's out there every day. People are saying, I can't wait, or they're going to come. And when they come, Judgment Day or the reset, and there are just so many words that is doing it, right? And it's really hard for people to talk about that. But again, you know, and then my humor kicks in and say, what if they do show up and slavery is obsolete now, right? Or in the physical sense. And they go, well, there's nothing to see here, folks. Pack up. We're going to go back home. We're going to turn the ship around because we came to free the people of slavery. Now, having said that, since they're not in chains and bondage, does that mean they have the ability to correct and save themselves because they're no longer in chains? Now, of course, I'm going to go with mental change is still there. Mental chains are very prevalent when it gets down to these conversations and stuff like that. But again, that question is put up there, and it's probably, you know, at a point to where, again, if it doesn't spur you enough to call, then I get it, because it's very designed that way, because it's going to challenge some beliefs. It's going to challenge your current belief of your situations, how you see the world. If you got to sit here and think that, or not think, either which way, that Nibiru or Nibiru is false hopes for the oppressed. And now we're pointing down that there's people. Now, and I'm only saying this because if it's the plan, if it's a false story, or if it's a collaboration of stories, then it works in the opposite. It keeps people docile. to one extent, and then the other extent is it can tie into, okay, then we're just going to wait. Oh, they're going to get theirs, or whoever the oppressors are going to get it, because this is one of those things. And so I think it's pretty much, in the chat here, he said there's much to truth to it, but on a level for beyond human and worldly understanding. But that's okay, Brother Harris, and I get it, but let's tone it back for a second, because people are having a human experience. People are having the human worldly experience. How can they interpret that if most people can't access the more deeper understanding, because of all the things that's happening anyway, to keep people connected to chaos right now, and they're unable to take their minds down the road of that, so that is worth knowing, and pretty much from there. But either way, like I said, that's part of the conversation. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. We'll move to the next part so that people could get into the other part of this. So we're going to pull this particular off the screen here. And all right, so let's go into another part of the conversation. And now that we didn't get a lot of answers to that, this is where it comes down to the ultimate twist of where we're going to go with this. And I think it's pretty interesting to look at it this way, to make a determination of how it's going to go, so to speak. So how about this? Let's say that we've heard we heard about our believers, and we've heard from the skeptics and some people. Now it's time to kind of clash things together on purpose, right? Let's put two worlds side by side. One hand, we're going to talk about Nibiru, is the home of the Anunnaki. We're going to put that over to the left side, and the cosmic motherland, so supposedly, and the sign of Black liberation. On the other hand, over here, we're going to talk about what the skeptics are saying, a recycled mythology, or failed prophecies, or false hopes that keep people passive. And tonight we're separating these into two different camps, and we're going to put them face to face. So one hand over here, again, Nibiru is the cosmic motherland. Okay, Nibiru. I'm going to keep saying them both. And it's the sign of Black liberation, some say. We've already heard JL earlier say that his Caucasian family lineage is Anunnaki. So therefore, it tips the scale in either other way. And on the other hand, once again, people say it's more a false hopes. It's on both sides of that fence. So let's say believers say it's a cover-up. Let's say skeptics say it's impossible. Who's lying? The watchers of the skies, or the believer of prophecy? Which one is it? And that is one of the questions that I think is very interesting to say. And so that is right now. So I don't think we really got too many people saying about liberation. Now, let me hear it. Some call in. Is it the biggest lie ever told, in your opinion? Do you have an opinion that is possibly one of the biggest lies that's ever been told? And, I think there's some people may believe that. I think there's some people may think there are some contrast, or, some things that are not connected to where it is when it comes to this. But I think at the end of the day, is it the biggest lie, that ever been told, when it comes down to it? So let's go that route tonight. What do you think when it comes down to the storyline of what we're talking about right now? And again, I think it's important that you could go to it, but is Nibiru liberation or the biggest lie ever told? Now, the phone lines are open. I know some of you are listening or waiting, and maybe you have an opinion, but tonight is the answers for everyone. I don't tend to give you a lot of information from my opinion. My hopes and Dara is to do this in a little more form fashion, so that you yourself could get into some of the conversation. And like I said, each question is designed. And I know we'll probably in the future do an open any topic night once we get this phone call in system down to a T. But tonight, I would like to stay focused on what we're talking about. And so I guess I could get my own interpretations of this whole thing. You know, is Nibiru liberation, or is it the biggest lie ever told? Either or. And I'm gonna be in the middle because I'm a truth seeker of truth. And although you have books that are written, although reality says different, and although that, you know, we have heard a lot of lies in our lives. We have heard some of the greatest stories that ever been told. And yet we still perpetuate those stories through generations to generations without literally having the proof that I think that we would think that we would want. And when it comes down to it. So let's go into the part of this is who's lying. Like I said, is it the washers, or is it something else? Because if Nibiru is real, why isn't it visible to every telescope right now? We don't have that, you know, and I think it's a pretty good scenario when it comes down to it. But you know, at the end of the day, why don't we have it? And we can say that for sure. Now, the other part of this is if skeptics say if we were gods, then we wouldn't be oppressed in the first place. Which side makes sense? Because we would have godlike powers, right? If black people are the Anunnaki, why do they still live under the oppression? That's a great question. If we are the Anunnaki and we are gods and descendants of gods, we will probably have the power of all of that. I think it'll be very interesting to really think it through. That'll be something that we would go. So what do y'all think about that? I think it's worth knowing that is it the biggest lie ever told? And if you have a comment on that and you want to discuss that and pretty much and say, all right, so we do have all right, so we have our brother back and he says, I don't believe Nibiru is a lie. I do believe the truth is, you know, it is not false, and there's nothing false about it. I don't believe there's any other words. And so that's cool. So let's bring him back in on this comment here on the luminous line there. All right. So, Brother Harris, hang on a second. Let me get you into the conversation and pretty much. All right. So you're back with this. The biggest lie ever told. You said it's not a lie. What? Okay. So we got a few other callers just came in too, but go ahead and talk to us.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I have a tendency to go off or seem to go off, but I'm gonna stay directly on point.
Yeah. That way we can keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And because we got a few much more segments tonight, and that way we can. I would like to just keep us on. Give us your perspective on the question. Yeah.
Absolutely. So to answer the question, no, I don't believe Nibiru is a lie. I don't believe that any story or words are wasted. I believe there's truth in all things, but like I was saying before, where is the knowledge or awareness of the authority of oneself in all of this?
Okay.
Because all of this is road signs pointing to that. Everything in existence is a road sign pointing to the source. So all of this is a way of pointing each one, individually and collectively, to recognition of their true self, which is collectively where all of this stuff is coming from. It's all the Nibiru, aliens, the world, civilization, you name it. It all has a source, and that source is collective. And the way to get around the seeming obstacles, whether it's the physical body, whether it's religion, whether it's spirituality, you name it, technology, is that, the source. You got to go back to the source in order to get through the maze, so to speak, if that makes sense. And that's where all of this is pointing to. There's a seasonal, there's seasons in the cosmic law or cosmic existence. There are seasons in that, just like there's seasons in the world. And this is pointing to a season. Nibiru is pointing to a season where awakening, no matter what physical form you take upon, no matter what humanoid or otherwise a vessel or avatar you are operating in, the consciousness is the same origin, the same source. And that's where the original communication is coming from. And it's a season of returning to that. Like spring has a season and fall has a season. There's a season of a heightened awareness or awakening.
Okay.
You know, and that's what we're going into, and it's unavoidable. There's nothing that could be done to stop it. It's what is also known as evolution.
So where does that tie into
the
the liberation or the biggest lie told? I mean, I get the answer of this of where we're going, but kind of tie that in. And also, we have a couple other callers. One in particular, if you're ending in 4833, I'm gonna need you to hang up and call back. There is nothing you didn't put nothing in to give me context of a call, and so it's gonna have to drop the call. But if you decide to call back, I think it was Marco or something, but make sure go through the screen and give me so we know what part of the topic that we're talking on when I bring you up on stage, and pretty much. But go ahead and continue. Yeah, from tied in for me.
Like you were saying, truth. Okay, like you were saying, truth versus authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here is where the perfect example of this, and I'm gonna tie it together. The truth that we all are being fed or influenced by, that at some point your own truth or your beliefs against your own authority or your awareness of your own existence. Now, which one are you going to pick? Are you going to pick your programming, or are you going to pick what allows programming to happen, your existence?
I got you.
Are you going to pick your presence, or are you going to pick your programming, your beliefs, your opinions? There's going to come a time for each expression of source to make that choice. You know, in ancient Kemet, we call it ma'at, or we call it the balancing of the scales. You know what I mean? That's what it's talking about. You have to make a decision at some point. Some are not ready and some are. But at some point, each individual is going to have to look at whether their presence is greater than their truths that they believe in. Because if someone makes you believe something is true, it may not be true. And it can be your detriment or it can be your benefit. But it's still happening within the presence that you are.
Now, we're talking about cognitive dissonance?
Truth and false.
Are we talking about
cognitive dissonance, Stockholm? Yeah, cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, you name it. That's all programming, right? Even the stories we're told. Now, if we could remember our non-physical form, then we can actually go and experience what it's like to be an Anunnaki or Anu or Naka or any other cosmic presence. But because we rely on stories told to us, that's in the form of programming, which can be truth or false. You know, it can be truth or lie. Those are all cognitive.
Well, let me ask you a question here.
What are the...
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. And don't get me wrong. I need you to kind of land it for me because we want to keep it going. Marco, if you got the message, make sure if you call back, go through that screening. And any of you do call in. I see a few of you on the call waiting list, but you didn't provide any information, so it's not gonna let you on because again, we're trying to make sure over time I can label who is our okay callers, and eventually it would only allow those particular people to call in. So I'm tagging as we go to give people green lights to call in at the future. So for those of you in the waiting room that you did not follow the instructions, you should be getting dropped right about now. Don't take it personal. Just call back and follow those instructions. All right. So where I'm going to go with this real quickly is I've been told in going through some learning processes that all of this is in our minds. Okay. And so we create those other characters, whether it's the aliens, whether it's the Anunnakis or whatever, it's all in the mind. And you seem like you were kind of tying it into it's whatever we believe or from the collective conscious, but it could be the collective unconscious, right? That things are where things are coming from. So in a quick second or so, let's go into where this is, and then I'll let a couple other callers in. Is it in our minds?
Okay, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because you were saying earlier it's whatever we heard the story or we think of the story. We're playing out a role.
Right. And see, this is where, you know, it all ties in right here, right? It all ties in. All roads lead to this. The moment where you have to decide whether your presence is greater than what you're exposed to.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is you're going to encounter, there's multiple religions and multiple cultures. You know what I mean? We on this planet, we get caught up in ideas and isms and concepts, and we go to war over it. So if you're another species from another planet, you're looking at how we conduct ourselves here. You're like,
Okay.
that's interesting. You know, because they might be more advanced and recognize that all of this is happening within a presence.
Okay.
And this is where we have an opportunity as beings in civilization, so called, to awaken to this and evolve, or stay stuck in the cycle of psychosis and go extinct.
Okay.
This is what the Christos is, or the Christ. This is what it is.
Okay.
What Jesus was saying, when I and the Father are one, this is what we're talking about. You have to decide whether what's happening in this reality is greater than what's allowing it to happen.
I get what you're saying. All right.
You know
So,
what I mean?
yeah, I get what you're
Your
saying.
mind, your presence.
Your mind.
Right.
Yeah. And
you override it all.
Yeah, you can put it much. All right, I appreciate it, Brother Harris. We have Marco. I'm gonna bring him up now, and I appreciate you, brother. And we got a few more other questions for tonight. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So we're gonna get Marco in. Marco wants to comment a little bit here as well on the topic of liberation for the biggest lie ever told, and I think he maybe was gonna comment on something else. So we'll get Marco in here on the luminous line there, and so let's get him on in, and we'll get into the conversation. All right, Marco, you're on the air with us. Appreciate it. He's calling from Illinois, and so is that what the Chicago Bears play? Because it ain't Dallas Cowboys, baby. But either way, appreciate it.
Yeah, they haven't won a game since I would say a Super Bowl since I was born.
You talking about Chicago?
85, 86.
Oh yeah, the Chicago Bears. They had the song. I remember when I was young. Everybody was playing, and then what was that Big Perry Fridge called a touchdown? And oh man, so that tells you how old I am.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But anyway, I appreciate you calling.
Planet Earth, right?
I know, right? I appreciate you calling. Now, go ahead. Yeah.
So I've been watching you since Billy Carson, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He introduced you to the world, and I think I'm into, like, you know, discovery sometimes, history, because I'm a history type of guy.
Okay.
And I always used to watch Ancient Aliens, only because I'm not gonna go too deep and be long-winded, but I've had experiences more than multiple in my life, and I really don't like to talk about it, you know what I'm saying, too much outside of myself. But I'm starting to see, not a trend, but I'm starting to see how everything is coming together. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. I always used to say, you know, put your puzzle pieces together, put the puzzle together. I never understood why I said that until I came into this awakening of so many things coming out of Christianity. So with that being said, my opinion, well, not opinion, but in my spirit, I feel that Nibiru is wormwood. They talk about this stuff across all religions and different spiritualities about this planet or extraterrestrial body that's outside of us, that's supposed to be, you know, outside of our atmosphere and things like that. So I'm not saying that it's not real or that it is, but what I will say is that anything is possible.
Okay.
You know, we call this the Matrix. We could manifest anything is possible. That's all another story. But coming from my background of spirituality, I feel that this is another story of a savior. You get what I'm saying?
So you're on a path with the biggest lie ever told.
Yeah, so
okay.
I see through the bullshit. I've been seeing through the bullshit as personally. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
That's fine. Yeah, watch the profanity a little bit. I didn't get I have a little button.
Oh yeah,
I didn't get it in time. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna watch myself. But that is what it is. Let me put it to you what was said to me in spirit. Like everyone here on this live, including you, and everybody that's watching and will watch in the future, you guys have a gift. whatever that gift may be.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
I could receive things as like, I wouldn't say like I would say a prophet because that's what I was told in church, but I didn't understand it at that time. But I understand it now the way things are going. Nibiru is not here to save us. And I was told, that's probably why I'm here to share this tonight, that we got too much too much stuff going on down here.
You can say sugar, honey, iced tea. We got too much sugar, honey, iced tea. Yeah.
Right, sugar, honey, iced tea. Yeah. But we got too much going on down here. We got all these diseases, all these viruses running rapid. We can't make up our mind if the vaccines are good, that they're giving us good for us or not good for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got too much going on and allowing these entities, as they call it, to take our loose or whatever's going on. You get what I'm saying? Our energy, they would not come here if they are on a higher vibration. I mean, people really think about it. Why would they come to a planet when they have elevated and evolved? You get what I'm saying? The universe is so vast. This is just one level of it. You get what I'm saying? So nobody's coming to save any. We have to save ourselves. We have to elevate. I mean, I could go on and on the things that I was shown, but to be honest with you, it's just like the reptilians you talk about.
Gotcha.
In the past, they had ancient civilizations. They had to make choices. Choices wasn't made, so they got wiped out. That's just how it goes.
Like you're saying through evolution. You're saying evolution, dinosaurs, and sound like you're saying we're on the same path, without saying, of course. But
we're on the same path. Alec Jones talked about this, where I think he explained it. If it was him that I'm thinking about, I watched him when YouTube came around. He was saying that when a universe or a galaxy is about to end, there's an evolution, and people must follow this evolution. And when the vibration rises in that universe or galaxy rises up, what is left is a shadow, from what I was understanding. And that is all the people that didn't make the shift, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? And that's from my understanding through spirit, that's from the previous universe, and nobody was there to save them. They had to save their own self. You get what I'm saying? It's hard. I know, because I go through it every day. You know what I'm saying? I commend you on what you're doing, because I was a 400-pound man myself, got down to 250. I'm just giving an example because we don't put forth the effort to make these things happen, whatever that may be. That was just an example I gave. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I get what you're saying. And I got a question for you. So I'm going to mute you. I want you to hold on. I need to advertise real quick, let people know about the event coming up this Saturday. But I'm going to mute you out, and but hang on the line and pretty much. All right. So we're going to bring Marco back here. I just muted him out, but I want to take this opportunity. If you haven't liked the video, it's 144 people here tonight, then you can definitely go ahead and do that. If you find in any value tonight in tonight's show, you can donate to the show, because this whole call system is a meter. It runs as much. And so I would like for us to continue to do this daily as we do our shows and evolve into a talk show. And so that is the plan. But with your help in the community, we'll be able to do that. So if you are finding any value, got any knowledge tonight, any contributions right there to the Cash App, you can do that as well. And any of the moderators put the Cash App in the chat. In the meantime, I want to parlay into Saturday, a couple of days from now. We're going to be in Dallas at the location here. And so I will give out the address. It's, I forget right now right offhand, but if TK is in the audience, if she can place it in the chat. But anyway, if you get on our text list, so you text 888-440-9771, the keyword meetup, and then it will put you on our list, and you'll start getting texts of the dates. And remember, we're doing this monthly. And so we'll be here this month and then next month in September as well. And so if you missed this one, you're welcome to come. But anyway, this is going to be a great event. So looking forward to seeing you there in Dallas. If you are in Dallas and you're in the chat, you're going to be there, so you can give a shout out there. All right, we got a super sticker from Lizzie. Appreciate it, supporting the show as well. And yeah, so again, if you in Dallas, yeah, there we go. So the address I'm gonna put on the screen here is 1233 Newport Avenue, Dallas, Texas. And so and how did TK know? Because she is the facilitator of where we are. So y'all give a shout out to her to for setting all of this up for the future and beyond. And beautiful place, and you can go and visit them on Sundays as well, and get some knowledge and visit their garden. You got to visit the garden out there, okay? And the gardener, and you will have a great time. But anyway, so once again, I'm going to get Marco back into the call. And like I said, if you find any value in tonight's show, you can call in. We do have a segment 5 that we're going to get into next. But I do have a question for Marco, and we will go into that as well. But if you want to support the show, you can. And so we're going to bring Marco back into the call. All right, Marco. Marco, appreciate you standing by. I just have to kind of run our event. And where are you calling from? Anyway, you said Illinois. Yeah, okay.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I said Illinois.
All right, so here's what I want you to do. If you don't mind, and if you feel that it's uncomfortable, I get it. But you shared, I started something long ago called Project Black, and it was at first the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. Now it's evolved to the Black League of Ancient Cosmic Knowledge, and it's a trademark that we're doing, and we're going to be doing conferences and stuff. And my goal is to find people like yourself who have stories and experiences and things that our community would like to share. And I'm going to go out on a limb that you're an African-American man. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we learned tonight that there's other people who says, hey, you know what? You ain't got to be Black to know that you're Anunnaki descendants. And so, and that was a great caller, JL, that called in early. So is there any one of your experiences that stand out to most that you can share with us, or you mind sharing with us tonight? It had to come now. You've seen it coming. Come on. You should have saw if you saw my ears in here, it would have perked up when you had said something earlier. If you could see my ears under this table, like boop, I was like, oh yeah.
So you speak about reptilians a lot, right?
Yes.
And I have this philosophy of what it is what it ain't, and what it ain't is what it is.
All right, fair enough.
And I think people should understand that. So I was driving one day on the back road. It was daylight. There was other cars, and there was it was a couple. They went across the light, and there was this man. He came from behind the trail, but there was like bushes and trees.
Okay.
So he got to the stoplight, and his face turned to like reptilian like. And I can't make this shit up. I wish I could have recorded it. I know they say people are crazy, we're crazy and shit like that, but no.
All right. Just sugar honey iced tea tonight.
I can see things when I want to see things.
We do have kids. We do have kids watching us, so we're cut on the profanity a little bit, but just put in a second good word though.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, you good. You good.
I'm just like in.
No, you good. You good.
This like I've told a few people about it, that are kind of like open to different things and different ways of spirituality. So they kind of like, get out of here type of energy, type of stuff. Right. But no, these things do exist. They are. I do feel like they're here. Even when I was a shift lead at Walgreens, another experience, but I didn't get to see her face. I was, on the same journey you're on now, cleansing out, detoxing. I went vegan for I think 4 years, and I could just see things. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And this one Chinese lady came in, and there was something just weird about her. Like her energy was just off. And when she came my way, she turned down the aisle before the aisle I was in, and she turned her face. Now, I don't know if she shape-shifted or whatever, but I thought that was weird. And the stuff that you talk about and people come up here talking about, it makes me think back to those times. You know what I'm saying? When I
Right.
experienced stuff, and it's just it's crazy, man. This world is crazy. Like, I just say I agree with everybody that, well, those who say this, we chose to be here.
Right.
We chose to experience all of this stuff that's going on right now. And it was hard for me to believe that coming into my own awakening, but it's the truth. Because I used to stare up at the stars as a kid. I used to just go to the park, the darkest part of the city that I could go to in a park, and just stare up and look at the sky. Like, you know, just like, I didn't know that was a form of meditation for me, but these things open up to certain people, and people like you and other people on YouTube who trying to get this stuff out here. It's like, to me, the evidence is there. Why do they want to keep hiding everything? You get what I'm saying? And I like what an occultist said. His name is Bobby Hemming. They sell us wolf tickets.
Right.
And I feel like my ancestors is not wrong from what they're telling me. A lot of this stuff that's going on with the Illuminati and the vampires doing this and doing all of that, you don't think they want to ascend too? You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're
Like,
saying.
I don't know what people think good and bad is, but I was told that also Pinocchio gets a soul too. I don't know what that meant from spirit at the time, but I think I know what it means.
So let me make sure. Let me make not to cut you short there, but I know I did. But I need you to just kind of land it. So it sounds like what you're saying is that we're all in the same boat. Everybody, this is a prison planet, and we
no, it's
or
a prison and a school.
Yeah, okay. So fair enough. And everybody is trying to, and there are some who's reason why it's a school. There are some making it out, is what you're saying. They are ascending. So people are all wakes, not just all wakes of life, but all type of species, entities, or whatever. Everything is coming through this path to go, or to be able to go elsewhere, is what you're saying?
Right. It's an elevation. Some things I've been learning spiritually, it's a spiral. You don't want to run yourself in circles. You want to spiral up. Or you can spiral down, whatever the person's choice is, right? But to spiral up is to elevate. So I understood that from a teacher, Sister Myra taught that, and I got that, and I understand it. So to be in a nutshell, all that stuff they talk about in the Bible is past, present, and future, right? So I know this is going to sound crazy to y'all, but Armageddon already happened a long time ago. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it has happened already. And some of us did ascend, but you know how they say we all came back to Earth to learn to, we have a purpose and we have something we had to do that we didn't do in the past life.
Okay.
Well, that's what it is. We did ascend, but there were some flaws within us. So we had to come back here to work out the flaws. Look, I'm a person that did not want to be here. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to give you my whole story, but a lot of us has been through a lot of stuff in life. And I won't say I've been through some things, but I've been through some things.
Right.
And I know after going through this spiritual awakening that this is not it. This has never been it. So nobody is coming to liberate us, and we have to liberate ourselves and come together.
Okay.
Anything else is a government conspiracy or whatever you want to cover.
The word on the street.
Lie.
We call it the word on the street. Well, no, that's our word. That's our word on the street. But yeah, there's a government conspiracy. All right, Marco, listen, man, I appreciate the call tonight. You know, you're welcome to call back anytime. We got one last question that I'm going to pose to the audience before we get out of here tonight. But what do you think about the call-in show? I'm thinking, I've been trying to work on this for quite some time. I wanted to kind of turn this channel into kind of a live talk show style, or with call-ins, and as we continue down forward. Like I said, it's a good, costly system, but it'll cost every night. But at the end of the day, I'll bear it. It's not going to matter. But did it help you, or not help you, but did you find it, good for you to be able to call in and express yourself tonight?
I think it's good for everyone.
Okay.
I think people are just scared to call in to express their self. Well, it's not even expressing themselves. It's exactly what you call it. Truth speakers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or truth seekers. Like, all of that together, like, it means something, because we talk about it in secrecy all of this time. Now we're coming out. Okay, well, now we need the truth. Okay, well, then the third action is we need to make them do something about it. We can't just sit around and talk about it.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We have to force them and force their hand.
Absolutely.
So
I agree with you on that.
I'm going to leave with that.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming. And again, we will be doing this Wednesday, Thursday as well. And then I'll be on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow. And we'll kind of post this same show tomorrow on Forbidden Knowledge. It's bigger audience, but the main thing is building ourselves over here. Appreciate it, brother.
All right.
All right. So that was the greatness of Marco, and he had a great story there. And apparently he does watch us. There was a lot of things he was saying that he heard from the show. So Marco, I appreciate you being and also following me from Forbidden Knowledge over here. So I think that was a great observation. And like I say, everybody's opinion and thoughts and experiences are their own, and it's up to us as a community to listen to each and every one, to take bits and bits of pieces of truth, and then you put it together, because we're never going to have the whole truth. Y'all know that, right? And anyone tells you they know everything, I want you to break out and run as fast as you can. And also kudos to him, from being over 400 pounds to 250. I'm on the journey myself. So as y'all know, I weighed in at 287 last week. I'm at 282 now. So 5 more pounds came off this week. And so my goal is to get into the 387, not 2. And now at 382, and the goal is to get into 375. And then of course, 350 is the milestone. So hopefully in a few months that happens, and then continue on our journey and get into the 50s and 250s and all that too. And so I'm very excited about that, and the energy, the feelings, and yeah, it's a 30-day juice. It is definitely a hard thing, but overall, I will start implementing some types of foods into the juice scene overall, and as we continue down the thing. All right, so we're going to move into the final segment of conversation tonight, and I think it's something that poses a great question. And like I said, if you find any value tonight, you can. And if you don't, that's fine. I will do what I'm doing as a community. But I think, and let me know in the chat tonight, if you think the call-in type show is something we can work with. It could be something we do each night, and then maybe Thursday night or something, we can have any topic call-in show, right? People call in and we can go in any direction. We won't stay on point, so we keep the conversation, but we will let it go, or do more of these. So if that's something that you think is enticing enough for you, then we are setting a new precedence tonight, or a new style, a new origin, a new community type of conversation. And of course, we have a system that's doing that. And eventually, I would like to get somebody to be the screener. They will answer, you'll hear their voice, and then they will type everything on the screen. Right now, it's all automated right now. And so there are some things that get kind of confused, but for those who've already called in. So let me know in the chat if you think and you're getting value with this style of show. And let me know if there's something we're going to continue. I've been wanting to do this for 6 months. And y'all been noticing last week, we was trying different systems. So I finally found one that's not free, right? All right, so let's go into the fifth and final part of tonight. Let's bring it home. And I think it's pretty much to go down this route, okay? And where I'm going to go with this is that I think tonight we've heard it all. We've heard Nibiru, planet of our ancestors, the home of the Anunnaki, the cosmic key to Black liberations. We've heard of skeptics calling it nothing more than recycled prophecy, a false hope tonight. We've seen the passion. We've heard the other side of the sentiments. But now we come to what I call the final verdict of tonight, and you want to call in for the final verdict, you can. I'll put it on the screen shortly for you. But either way, it shows up. And like I said, here's where it's going to go right now. And Nibiru can't stay maybe forever or whatever. But either way, it shows up, or if it doesn't. And if it never comes, then we got to ask ourselves, who being lying to us? Okay, so that's one question. And where the ancients wrong? Where did the scholars mislead us? Did religion twist prophecy? Did NASA bury the truth? Or we've been so hungry for hope that we just believe in this stuff ourselves? And that's the razor's edge of this whole conversation tonight, because if Nibiru is real, it means Black people are the children of the gods, right? Or not. And we already heard that there's some people in Dearborn, Michigan, and JL said, no, their whole Caucasian community thinks that or says that that's their beliefs and everything else. And now, not just by government scientists, or maybe by our own desires of rescue, and that is then. So my part of this is if the government protecting us or not. And so let me put the part on here, and let's open this up. And then let me kill the banner here so that you can call in the number. So the number is on the screen. The question is on the screen. If Nibiru never comes, as we come to the final part of this, have we been lied about everything now? And we're talking now, because I want you to think about where I'm going with that question before you come up on the screen, or if you're going to call. Everything, because all of this stuff is tied to stuff. And as you heard Marco and other people, that is a lot of the stuff is the same things, different descendants, depending on your archetype and where it comes from. But it seems that somebody is revamping these stories, making it fit an archetype or archetypal of heritage, and then it's carried on through all of this. And if it's the government protecting us, or is it religion protecting control, or is it elites protecting their power? So if Nibiru is real, who gains the most from hiding it? So that's the first thing. That's the first direction that I will even think about, or where are we going when it comes down to this, and we're looking at it. The other part is, are we fueling fear industries, or book sales, or YouTube clicks and false prophets? If Nibiru is not real, who profits from keeping us from believing it, right? Who profits from saying they need to continue to believe in this Nibiru stuff? And who says it? All right, so I'm going to give a shout out to McGee for a contribution for the show tonight, and Deborah. We're going to get a shout out to Deborah as well on the cash out. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I appreciate it. And again, your contributions fuse the fire for the next one, right? And we go. But here's the point. Do we need the planet to return, though? Think about what I'm asking you all. And do we need to wake up ourselves? And now I'm pointing this at a community or anybody who believes it, from the people in Dearborn, JL, right? Even our community itself. Because if Black people are the Anunnaki, why hasn't that knowledge liberated us already? Did I touch something right there? If Black people are the Anunnaki, why haven't it liberated us already? Because if you know you're God and you got God powers, wouldn't you use them or seek them or all of this stuff? And so I think it's something to kind of talk about. But anyway, on the screen, we have, if it never comes, then what happens? Have we been lied to about everything? And I ain't say just about Nibiru. I'm talking about, because it all seems to be going down the same line. And it is because deep down we know something is hidden, or is it because humans need a cosmic savior? Ouch. Does that hurt? If everything failed, the prophecy was wrong, why does this story never die? Do we need a savior? In essence, right? You get what I'm saying? Do we need the thought of one to function? Can people function without that? Is it hope? Do we keep hoping him or alive or whatever? And so I want you to think about those things, because deep down, our history, our origin, our religion, our science, all of it, if the greatest myth collapses, maybe the world system collapses with it. And that leads us, if Nibiru never shows up, does that mean we've been lied to about everything? And fortunately, we're coming to a close, and I was hoping to get a few more of your talks on the closing arguments of this, but I'm going to close out the line now, and so that we are done there. And we're gonna, I'm gonna end the part there and confirm that. All right, so. All right, we're no longer, the phone lines are no longer open, so let me close this up and then go back into the chats if any of you enjoy anything, and pretty much. All right, so, all right, didn't get too many answers of that. Maybe y'all didn't like it. Maybe I thought we did a good job with the call-in show tonight, and pretty much it's something I think we want to do, and from that and keep things moving right along. So once again, my closing arguments tonight is I think we walked on a razor's edge of information. We asked if Black people are the true Anunnaki. We asked if Nibiru is not destruction, but liberation. We heard believers. We heard skeptics. We clashed a little bit here and there. Space tonight, which was good, not nothing bad. But now I think the verdict moment, either Nibiru is real, even it isn't. And if it is real, then the history has been rewritten, religion has been weaponized, and science has been used to blind us. If it's not real, once again, then we need to admit that maybe we've been lied to in another way and fed false hopes to keep us waiting for saviors instead of becoming our own. And I think that's important there. And so the question that I'm going to leave you all with tonight is whether Nibiru is coming tomorrow or in 10 years. The question is, if Nibiru never comes, have we been lied to about everything? I hope that tonight's show touched a part of you tonight. I hope that there's other things. And if there's other live shows and call-in shows we want to do, you can start submitting those things to me at my email, contact@whythebigsecret.com. And maybe if we do pick your conversation to have and people call in about, we will give you kudos, and I will say this is brought to us by you when we do this. Also later on down the road, if you want to be sponsors or known sponsors of our monthly events where we could, share if you got a business or just something to the people that's showing up, and then each month advertises that you are sponsoring the next upcoming meetup. You can contact me about that. It's not a lot to do so, but just, appreciation to do all those things. We would love to do that. So again, I hope to see each and every one of you. They're going to be there Saturday. And then, of course, we'll be here tomorrow, be on Forbidden Knowledge, and then we'll be back Wednesday and Thursday with another live in sessions. And Thursday, we're going to do probably any topic. We'll do any topic. You call in and we will discuss it, and that'll keep the show moving any direction that you want. And I'm excited. So tonight, I think it was a grand show. I think it was something that I've always wanted to do. We can only get better with the style and everything. I think once people get more comfortable knowing what it is and what you can do here when you're calling in, that more people will do it. But if you had that opportunity, make sure you like this video, like it, place your comments from there. And again, I would love to know, did it turn out for you? Is it a good thing? I didn't get too much comments there, but I see Maya and Aryan Diva, thank you, and everything else. Like I said, it's been a desire of mine for a year or two to create kind of a call-in show once we do it. And just, hopefully I'll get with my guy, Dr. Yak there in Belize, and see if we can get him some better audio, because some of these people got some great knowledge. And we would do that. And we tried to, let it go as long as we could, but regardless, we did hear some great things that he said. And then of course, Marco, brother Lewis, Shannon, all the different people that called. And if I forget your name, charge it to the mind, not the heart. And to my haters, if you can hate on me and you come here every week to hate on me, that's cool. Maybe you're not a hater, you're just a fan, you're just critical. And to everyone else, I love you, as you know, love yourself, but I do love you. If you have not heard it today, I truly want you to hear the words, I love you. and know that if I could hug you, I would give you a hug. And if I can receive a hug from you, I would love to receive a hug from you as well. But with that being said, it's been a plum, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege tonight. I'm Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority, and I will see you tomorrow on Forbidden Knowledge at 8, and then we'll be back here Wednesday, Thursday. And thank y'all all for all that you do.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs. A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs that landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil was the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Look at the fly!